Hi, and welcome to this episode of Practical Psychology for Business. I'd like to share with you a very, very interesting and possibly weird idea that might seem odd at the outset, but as you think into it, you'll realize it actually makes loads of sense and is totally accurate and a very good description and understanding of what fear is made up of. Now, why is it so important to understand this? Because the biggest chokehold and obstacle and challenge that we face as business people, as human beings, it doesn't matter in which avenue, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in business, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, it's fear. Fear holds us back of doing what we know we should do, or we know what we could do, or we know what we're capable of. So fear makes us use such a little amount of our capability because it holds us back and freezes us. So if you were to learn how to overcome fear, your comfort zone would become so much bigger. You would take chances and do things and reach out in ways you have never done before. So this would be a very, very powerful skill, tool, and method to be able to develop overcoming fear, anxiety, and stress, because those wind up being the biggest problem. Now, anxiety has been studied, so we know that anxiety poses such a problem worldwide that all in total, $1 trillion gets spent a year globally to manage anxiety. Just in the US, $42 billion a year gets spent on anxiety. Studies show that the average employer will spend or lose $3,000 in productivity per employee just for the effects of anxiety alone. So it's a big problem. It affects loads of people. It affects millions and millions of Americans. It's pretty much down to 1 in 4 people will have a diagnosable anxiety disorder, which that means really bad. Now, if you add to that the people that are just struggling with anxiety, fear, and stress, obviously the number is so much more. So this is a very, very prevalent problem. And we know that it holds back from production. It holds back from success, financially, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. So overcoming this problem would be key at getting out there and having the ability and the freedom to create for ourselves the life that we desire. So let's talk about what is the makeup, what is the recipe of anxiety, fear, and stress. So the first thing that probably comes to your mind is such debilitating emotions, despicable, problematic, challenging emotions are probably made up of terrible ingredients. Negativity, really, really bad stuff. But you'll be surprised to learn that the ingredients that make up fear, anxiety, and stress are actually the most noble ingredients known to man. It's made out of the best stuff on earth. What? Yes. Anxiety, fear, and stress are made out of the best stuff on earth. And I'll tell you right now what the ingredients that make them up. Well, if you're standing, maybe grab a chair because you're going to be very surprised to hear that the 3 ingredients that make up anxiety, fear, and stress are none other than creativity, sensitivity, and intelligence. Yes, that's correct. You heard me right. Anxiety, fear, and stress are made up of creativity, sensitivity, and intelligence. Now, creativity, sensitivity, and intelligence are three of the greatest attributes one can wish on themselves and on their loved ones. It's just amazing. Such valuable, beautiful emotion. Now, why? Because if you take creativity and you utilize it to have amazing visualizations of what you could create and achieve, and you can see it vividly and clearly, that it motivates you to move in the direction that you want to go towards, it is so powerful. Sensitivity, you're a sensitive human being. You feel somebody else. You can experience emotion, beautiful emotion, deeply connect with the universe, with God, with people, with your loved ones in a deep way. Sensitivity, that's a great attribute. Intelligence, knowledge is power. If you know a lot, it's great. You could then use it and have the power to be able to accomplish so much things in life. While it's true that creativity, sensitivity, and intelligence are so valuable, that's if you use them towards your outside world and make your life work by using them. But what happens if it uses you? Instead of being focused outward, your creativity, your sensitivity, and your intelligence focus inward. And you create an image of a scary event, of a terrible tragedy, of an illness, of a financial disaster. And you see it so clear because you have great creativity. And then sensitivity, you start feeling and become afraid of the creation that you made in such a deep way that you're shaken up. And your intelligence adds the salt and pepper to fully make it as real as possible. So now you have the scariest image that you feel and has every correct detail, and it scares you to death and holds you back from doing what you need to do, from doing what you know you need to do to create the great life for yourself that you desire. So learning how to manage creativity, sensitivity, and intelligence makes the difference whether that becomes the biggest blessing in the world that you can utilize to create this great life that you know you desire, or it creates the scariest emotions that freeze you in your tracks and hold you back from doing what you want to do with your life. The way I describe it to understand it is it's the difference between watching a video or a movie on an iPhone size screen versus watching it on an IMAX screen, 6 stories high, surround sound, and 3D glasses. If you're watching a funny video on an iPhone screen, as funny as it is, big deal. It doesn't take you over. But if you watch the same movie on an IMAX screen, it's a different experience. Now let's take a scary movie. If you watch a scary movie on an iPhone screen, it's not going to shake you up because you're watching it on a small screen. Now let's watch that same movie on an IMAX screen, 6 stories high, surround sound, 3D glasses, and your heart's going to thump and shake when there's something scary going on. Even though you know you just walked into that theater and you're sitting in a chair because it's real. Creativity is the screen, the big screen. Sensitivity is the surround sound. 3D glasses is your intelligence. So the more good attributes you have, the more creativity, sensitivity, and intelligence, the more blessed you are, the more real life is, the bigger the IMAX screen. So you have to know and learn the most important piece of this equation, and that is, if you don't know how to change the video or control the video that plays, an IMAX screen turns out to be a disaster. Because you're watching scary movies your whole life that are so real and vivid that depict the worst pictures in the world and hold you back from doing what you want to and need to do. However, If you learn how to change the tape and the video that plays on your IMAX screen, now you're king. You put in the greatest images, the most positive emotion, and you feel great and see great and are motivated by your great vision, then you go and forge ahead towards the life that you want to create in a big way. Here's another analogy to understand it. It's the difference between driving a car and an 18-wheeler truck. Everybody can learn how to drive a car from their friend. It's simple, you can learn, and you don't need a big special degree to drive a car. An 18-wheeler truck, well, that's a different ballgame. If you want to drive an 18-wheeler truck, you have to go get a special license because it's complicated, it's overwhelming, and it has a different type of skill set. If you have a regular brain, shallow, simple, well, you could manage it by learning from friends and family. But if you're blessed and you have a lot of creativity, a lot of sensitivity, a lot of intelligence, you have an 18-wheeler truck between your ears, well, you better learn how to drive that. Because there's a big difference when a car gets into an accident, it's generally a fender bender. But if an 18-wheeler truck gets into an accident, it's bad news. The highway gets closed and it's a disaster. So the more talent and capability you have, the more gifted you are, the more you better learn how to manage it, because otherwise it's going to work against you. So all this power can either work for you or all this power can work against you. I describe it as follows: anxiety, fear, and stress, which is creativity, sensitivity, and intelligence when it goes bad, are really the greatest gift in the world because it could be used to empower you in such a big way. However, it's a gift that's difficult to unwrap. You have to know how to use it. So I urge you, this has been my life's mission and my life's work, to be able to help thousands of people get control of the tape deck in their minds and use their great gifts of creativity, sensitivity, and intelligence to get it to work for them, to overcome the anxiety, the fear, and the stress in their lives that blocks them from moving ahead and doing what they know they need and want to do to create the life that they want. So if you continue following this podcast and some of my other free content online, you're going to learn everything you need to create the life that you desire. And we both know you deserve. Thanks for listening to this podcast, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one soon.